episodes, but give us the highlights. Bring us up to speed as to what caused you to write the book. Like, because you had an illness, which was really, you don't have to go into every detail. Save that for the book. That's where they're going to go into the book. But you give us a couple of the highlights so that at least brings people up to what we're talking about with the book.
Right. It'd be like in the movie, right? I'll just drive myself to the edge of the cliff.
And stop right there. I'll stop the video right there.
Yeah. If you want the rest, you got to get a pocketbook.
Does he live or not? Well, I guess we better do that before this podcast comes out, because they'll know you lived because you were on it. So.
Yes. No, I'm a Thomas Wade impersonator. Thomas is not with us anymore.
We should get Denise to fly right in on the mic right now and say, well...
Yeah, well, we had him stuffed and stuck in the corner. But anyway, let me try to be more elegant than that. So
prop him up against the jukebox, just like Joe Diffie would say.
Yeah. Just put a drink in my hand there. Folks.
That's how I'm going. I don't know.
Yeah, pour some alcohol on it.
So back to your story, which I think is where we started. We're going way down another path that probably won't help us.
This is the story. So I was a recording artist. I've been a musician my whole life, obviously. I was in a band, started touring. My family band, Silver Wings, have been doing that. I did that for like 11 years. Then I went and had a band called Wayward, which was Marie Bottrell's backup band. And we toured and all that stuff. And then much later, we joined up again as a band called Wayward and began to, I'd been writing and going down to Nashville, and we ended up recording. And the record came out. It was Thomas Wade and Wayward. Did extremely well. First single was top 15 right away. I'd already been busy as a musician full time, but now it was on 11. We're always working and always had songs on the radio and won a lot of awards. And we basically 2 years in a row we swept the Independent Awards, Independent Single Song and Group of the Year both years. And then by the end of 2001, I had put out another record and was quite hopeful for that. And all of a sudden I was on stage in Saskatchewan and doing a show. And all of a sudden my voice it didn't work. I had this sound come out of my throat that I could not control and I couldn't explain. So that really sucked because I had 4 more shows to go. So I did that and I was terrified. I can't even tell you how terrified I was. And I came home and started going around to doctors trying to find out what was wrong, and nobody could tell me anything. So basically, after another year of trying, I had to retire as a singer. Yep. And then I started being, working, producing other people and promoting other acts and that kind of thing. And then by 2004, I was producing other people, but I was starting to notice certain vowels were really hard to say. Yep. I couldn't understand that. It was really strange. And by 2005, I could barely speak. Wow. And in 2006, I was finally diagnosed with something called oromandibular dystonia.
I'm glad you said that, and I didn't. Because I couldn't say that twice.
Yeah, well, just imagine me trying to say it. Yeah.
I might be the one with the speech impediment after I try saying that word. I don't know if I can, so.
Yeah. Well, it was like, why didn't they just call it she sells seashells? Like she,
That's right.
So anyway, I was diagnosed on my birthday, 2006. And then, I recall them giving me the moniker, and it's like, okay, I don't really care about that. Yeah. Now what? And there is no now what. It was incurable. So I spent the next bunch of years like that. By 2009, I went through a period of 2007 where it kind of had the upswing a little bit. Felt like it wasn't as bad. Yep. But then by 2008, 2009, I could barely start a sentence. Right. So, and around that time, I happened to be listening to the CBC, and I heard about neuroplasticity and about experiments and research being done in which they were healing stroke victims.
Okay.
And I thought, all right, I don't care what anybody says, if you can heal a stroke victim, I can heal.
Right.
So I went out and I learned everything I could, and I started sort of MacGyvering my brain, really, and rebuilding myself. And partway through the process, I got my voice and my speech back, and that in itself has been a really long process. I'd like to say that, if you happen to be in a wheelchair for 10 years, you're not going to pop out of that chair and do Swan Lake. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. If you can walk to the front door, you're doing well. And for a long time, that's what my voice was like.
Right.
Until, 2005-ish, 2015-ish, 2016-ish, I recorded a new album, which said, okay, I'll call myself a singer now.
Yeah. It's a great album, by the way.
Thank you. Great album. I'm really proud of it. Yeah. But then there was so much more that actually I ended up discovering about myself in trying to get my voice and my speech back, and that was the actual origin of this incurable disease.
Yeah.
And so I ended up having a good look at myself and really dealing with issues that were all just as profound as not being able to speak, PTSD. So I had to go in, and I thought, okay, I'm not getting this disease again. I'm not going to wait around and get it. Yeah. So I got to do something about how I feel. And I can't rely on anybody else for that either.
Right.
So I started developing a methodology to mostly eradicate the effects of PTSD. So,
wow. So give us an idea of, because it's a rare disease you had, but how rare is it? Is this something that most singers would come across? Like a lot of times we hear singers, losing their voice or losing their throat. Is this something that is kind of common in the singing world? Is it like what's the percentage of people that would get this? Did you? I don't know. You may not even know that, but
I do actually. It's really. I know a lot of stuff that
I bet
almost useless until somebody asks me. Right? It's something like between 6 and 60 per million for the regular population. So it's quite rare.
Wow.
Quite rare.
Wow.
But for musicians, it's 1% to 2%.
Oh, okay. So quite rare. Yeah. So now you went through hypnosis, and I think you actually were telling me prior that you are now a registered hypnotist. Is that what you call it?
I'm a certified hypnotist. Yes.
Certified hypnotist. And so that's one of the ways you got your voice back, or you at least
that was very helpful. That was actually one of the first. After I had heard about neuroplasticity and really didn't know how to go about it, I happened to find out that someone we knew was a hypnotist, and he thought that he could help me. So I did a few sessions with him, and it was really helpful and very powerful. I did find, however, that for any kind of lasting effect, it just made sense to me that if you want to be well, if you want to be happy, whatever you want for your life, we have all the tools. We have profound abilities that we can focus and use. And I thought, I can't rely on somebody else for my speech and my singing.